Hi there, it's Karen here from Turquoise Treasures. Welcome back to my channel and to the start of my new project, which I'm really excited about because it's something I've kind of been thinking about doing for a while, but I didn't really know where to start or where to take it. And that's an altered book, because I've seen people doing them online, but I didn't really know quite how to use one or what to make with it or whatever. And I was thinking, roughly kind of casting around for some ideas for making a new project, but I didn't really know what to do. And then I came across an amazing channel called Treasure Books, which is Natasha, who makes the videos. And I can't believe I've never found this channel before, because she's amazing and she has over 90,000 subscribers, and I hadn't come across it before. So I've been binge watching a lot of her videos, and one of the ones that she did not long ago was on altering a book to make pockets. And as soon as I'd watched it, I thought, that's what I want to do for my next project. I think, I was straight away kind of inspired to have a go. But one of the things that she was talking about in her amazing tutorial, which I will link below because I think it's worth watching, because what I'm going to do will be a pale imitation of what she did, which was amazing. But she does talk about at the beginning the type of books that you need to use to do an altered book in order to keep the integrity of the book and stop it falling apart as soon as you start putting things in the pockets. And basically she's sort of saying you need to use a book with sewn-in signatures. So I had a look through my rather small stash of books, and I could only find one book which had sewn-in signatures, which was a bit of a shame. So that's the book I'm actually going to use for this project, which is this one here. It's one of my old uni books. It's a Gunter Grass Katz und Maus. So it's not a very big book. I've just marked the signatures with paper clips so I know how many I've got and where to start from. So we'll come to that in a little while. But I needed to make myself a prototype because I didn't have the confidence to just dive into this book, the only book I've got with the sewn-in signatures, and mess it up. So I ended up doing my prototype in this book, which is actually a Reader's Digest book. So it's just the sort of book that she says don't use. But I didn't really have any choice, and I'm not going to be loading it up with loads of ephemera or anything, I don't think. This is my prototype, so I wanted to try out making the pockets according to her plan, because she's so generous. When she does her tutorials, she actually creates a little plan or a template of how you can do it yourself, and then she puts it up at the end of her video so you can print screen it and keep it. So this is the one for the pockets, and this is not how it comes. I've written all over it. I've written numbers and I've added extra little instructions and notes as I've watched her video. Mainly I've written how many pages you need for each of these pocket combinations, so that I know when I'm working out how many pages I need to tear out and what I need to keep. I know how many pages each of these pockets needs. And I even had a go at making a few of my own on the back here, and I do actually use 2 or 3 of these in this prototype. So this is a Reader's Digest book, and as you can see, I have created all these pockets that she did, but it's not decorated, because my idea was in her video she decorates the prototype so you can see the finished result, and loads it up with all sorts of ephemera and tags and things, and then makes a new one on camera. My feeling was I'd like to do it a bit the other way around, is that I'll make the prototype so really as a guide for myself to see how to do it, and then I'll try and hopefully make a version on camera, and I'll decorate it. Because this is my attempt at my autumn project, because I've been watching loads of autumn videos, people making autumn journals, and I've been really wanting to do something autumnal, but I knew I'd left it really a bit late to do a journal, because I really didn't think I'd be doing anything after the end of once the fairy journal was finished. I thought I'd have a bit of a gap, and then by the time I was able to craft again, I would be doing Christmas. But it hasn't quite worked that way, as you know. So I've got something I need to do to plug the gap. And I do like to have two projects on the go, so that you're not just watching one project, one journal being made through for all my videos, and just for myself as well, to keep it more interesting. I like to swap and change between the two. So I haven't quite finished making my fairy journals videos, but there's still quite a lot already scheduled to the end of October, and I've just got a couple to do to finish it off. But I left a couple of little gaps in my schedule, which is what I'm going to put this in, and hopefully this will take me through into November, and who knows how long it'll take before I have to stop. So that's the plan. I hope I haven't rambled on for too long. Now, my idea for today's journal, today's video, was to start tearing out the pages and making the pockets. I may not have made them all today, but I thought I'd make a good start. But I started to think about what I'd want to do for the cover. This is like middle of the night, laying in bed, thinking, "Oh, I got to do a cover. What do I want to do for this cover?" Because once you take this cut with this jacket off, fly jacket, which is, it's a great image, but it's not really what I want for an autumn journal. And it is just a very plain, but red, lovely, beautiful red. It could be great for a Christmas journal, I know, but this is going to be for autumn. So I was sort of thinking, what can I do? And unless I'm just going to stick a picture on the front, which you can do, because once you've done all the pockets and things, this is not going to be a very easy surface to work on, because it's so thin at this end and fat at this end, and it wouldn't be very stable. And I thought what I'd like to do is do some sort of stenciling on the front, at least as a starting point, to give it an autumnal look. And I realised that if I want to do that, I really need to do it before I start tearing out the pages. So that is what I'm aiming to do to start with in this video, and when I'm hoping I'll have enough time at the end to then tear out the pages as well, and then in the next video I can start actually making the pockets. So there we are, there's the plan. Now I did do a little play with one of my stencils, and then I remembered I had another one last night when I couldn't sleep. I got up and played with my stencil. So I've got a couple of potential modelling pastes here. So this is the one that you're familiar with. This is the one I've used a lot in my Fairy Sparkles journal. It's called Lunar Paste, and it's by Cosmic Shimmer. And it just says Moonlight Gold. And that's this little bit of stenciling here. So it's got quite a bit of, it's quite shiny and a bit slightly glittery. So I've got that. And then this one here, this long one, because the stencil I used is this one. It's a dilution stencil. Their stencils are such good quality. They're really thick and they're really nice to stencil through. So that was the one I used. So I did that. And I used the same for that bit there, if you can see there, look. So that was what I was going to use. And then I remembered, and it's very similar, but I've got this one also, which is also dilutions, which I thought might actually be better and easier to use, because it's not quite so big. So for this one, this is a Heidi Swap paste. It's a texture paste in gold. And so I did that last night when I couldn't sleep. Sad, I know. So of course then by this morning they were dry, and I could see which one I preferred. I was fully expecting to think to like this one better, because I like the sparkle and I like the colour. But actually, when I've looked at it, I prefer this one, which is a slightly softer gold, and just slightly more subtle. And I just thought, and in fact, on here, I just took a little bit of the Lunar Paste and just sort of touched a little bit here and there. So you could actually bring out a little bit of a highlight with the Lunar Paste afterwards, because there is a little bit of texture in there, just from the way you scrape it over the stencil. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this stencil because it's a bit smaller. It's a similar design, but it'll be a bit easier to use on the book. Now it is a little bit poking up because I've paper clipped the centre of all my signatures, just so that I know how many papers I've got and how to work out from there. I'll explain how I'm going to do it with the afterwards, but I think it'll be okay. I'm hoping it'll be okay to work on. So it's not completely flat. So I think what I want to do is just, I don't think I want to do the full width. I just want to do something perhaps around the corner a little bit. Maybe I'll start up here. Do this bit and then just try and take it just down the side a little bit. I don't really want it the full width. So that's what I'm going to do. Then I've got room on this side if I want to do something else. So I'm just going to make a start, I think. Now, the first thing I need to do is put something on my mat to protect it. So get the craft mat out. It's been used quite a lot lately. I haven't done so much mixed media in ages as I have done over the last few weeks. Right. So I'm sure most of you will be aware of Natasha at Treasure Books, but if you haven't, go check out her channel. It's amazing. I can't believe it. Anybody has not come across her apart from me. Because she, as I say, she's got 90,000 plus subscribers, so she's clearly very well known. I was quite shocked that I hadn't actually come across her myself before. But now I have, and now I'm watching lots of her videos, and it's a bit mind-blowing the amount of tutorials that she's put out and the things that I want to make. And I have to stop myself watching too many, otherwise I can't sleep because I want to make all the things that she does. Oh dear. Still, it's great to get inspiration. There's always new inspiration out there, and even when I had no idea what sort of project I might want to do for my autumn project, if I was going to do an autumn project, inspiration always seems to be out there somewhere on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to try and control where this goes. It's lovely paste, this. It's very soft, very easy to use. So there we are. Oop. So I don't know if any of you lay in the middle of the night planning your next project. And in the end, I just couldn't sleep, so I got up and came in my craft room. And I was much more relaxed once I knew, what I was going to do. Because I only had the idea of doing this while I was laying in bed. I hadn't planned to do this at all when I went to bed last night. But sometimes I find my best ideas come to me when I'm lying in bed and unable to sleep and going over things in my head. Sometimes I get the best ideas. And sometimes I just get a bad night's sleep. But I do get a good ideas sometimes when I'm in bed. I think your mind is clear of all the other stuff that's going on in life, and sometimes that gives you a chance for your brain to be a bit creative, perhaps. Don't know. It's always a bit scary to take my hand off in case it moves. The nice thing about the book is they've got a slightly textured surface, so it kind of has a bit of a grip onto the stencil. So probably haven't said this, it'll probably shift now, but just want to do that little bit there. Oops. May have a bit of overflow where it got too close to the edge here. Don't know if it'll come off. I think what I'll probably do is I'll probably put some lace or something on the spine anyway. So even if I do get a little bit of overflow, it may not be a big problem. think I'm going to stop. Just stop here, not go right down to the bottom. Just want to try and cover it so you don't see too much red showing through. Okay, I think I've got everything I want on there. Let's have a look. Very gently peel it back. There. Ooh, yeah, I quite like that. Right, so I'm just going to turn off the camera a moment while I clean my stencil. You don't really need to watch me doing that. And wipe that a little bit off if I can, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I think that's all I am going to do for now. What I need to do is actually let this dry. I don't know how long it'll take, so I won't be able to continue filming for a little while, although it won't, you won't notice any gap in transmission, if you like. But I may actually not be able to get back to doing this for a couple of days, because I've got Switch's birthday tomorrow. So I think what I'm going to do now is leave this to dry, and I'm going to go off and do film Roxy's weekly challenge for this week, which I think is week 41. But you will have, hopefully you'll have already seen that video by the time you see this one, which is due to come out next Monday. So I will finish this when this is dry, and all I plan to do, I think, with this is now take out the pages ready for making the pockets. I may even start to make some pockets if I have time, because this hasn't taken as long as I thought it might. And I will be back very soon. Hi, so I'm back. It's a couple of days later, and as you can see, I've added a little bit more to this cover. Now, the reason I've done this in the gold and then the silver is because I'd already realised that I probably wouldn't get the whole thing done as an autumn book, because I shall probably run out of time for whatever reason. Either I'll run into Christmas and want to do something around a Christmas journal, or I'll have to just stop altogether if I end up going into hospital. Who knows if that'll happen this year or not. So my idea was right from the start was that I'd do half the book as an autumn book, and then the second half I'll do as a winter book. And I've actually already got the kit for the winter part of it, but I haven't printed it yet. But it's been one I've been wanting to use for ages. So I thought, so I went ahead after the first part of the gold stenciling had dried. I went ahead and did the silver. Then afterwards I realised I'd actually done more silver than I have gold, so I've gone back and added a bit more of the gold just to fill it out a little bit more. And then my idea would be that I'll probably do something here, and maybe I'll do some embossed lettering saying autumn, and then at the bottom I'll do winter. And then half the book will be autumn, and then the second half will be decorated with a winter kit. So that's my idea. And I'm quite pleased how this has turned out. I think they're really pretty. I've actually got exactly the same texture paste in the silver as well as in the gold. So this was the silver one, which is exactly the same. It's the Heidi Swap, what they call it, metallic texture paste. And I actually also have the glittery one in the silver as well that I've been using in the gold. And I might go over these and bring out a little bit of more highlight with the glitter afterwards. I'll see how I feel. Or I might just do a little bit around the edges, I'm not sure. But at least I've done the stuff that needs to be fairly flat. I've done. So the next thing I need to do now is to start taking pages out of this book. So what I also did off camera, as you know, I'd already pinned together all the middles of the signatures. So I worked out how many signatures I've got, and there were 11 signatures. It's not a very long book, which is quite a relief really, because when I was making my prototype, this had over 500 pages in it, so I had to take out 10 at a time, and it took me quite a few sessions because sitting tearing is pretty hard on my shoulders. So I did it over several days on different sessions, just doing a few at a time. So this one being that much shorter, I think there's only, hang on, how many pages have we got? 178 pages, so it's a much smaller book, so I will have a lot less tearing to do. So what I've also done, as well as marking the 2 pages in the middle, I've now gone ahead and marked the first and the last page of each signature. So that gives me, if you've got 11 signatures, and I've taken the middle 2 for each signature, that's 22 pages. And then I've marked the first and the last page to keep in each signature, so that's another 22. So that gives me 44 pages. Well, I only probably need 42 for the pockets I'm going to make. So I'm going to take out the ones that I've already marked, and then I might take out a couple more at the end, and we'll see what I'm left with. So I'm going to start. So the idea is you take one out at one side of the signature, and you take the corresponding one out the other side of the signature, so you never have them falling out. That's the idea, but I don't know if I'm hoping that these are working out. They're really difficult to see how the signatures go together. It was quite hard to actually find the middles, but I hope I've got them right. So I think I'm going to take this one out. Let's see how that... I'm going to just start tearing very gently the pages, and it doesn't feel like... I haven't really... I'm hoping that this first signature is working out okay. So maybe I'll take the one out... The ones out after the middle. Let's see. Oh, just a moment. That's okay. Sorry about that. It was just a phone call from my from my rheumatology people. They had a question for me about whether I'd had. Well, they were ringing to ask me if I had the surgery. So clearly the message hadn't got through to them that I haven't had it. But it's a different hospital, so who knows if they how much they communicate with each other. Anyway, I'll get back to what I was doing. I was trying to decide which page to start with to tear out. I think the first page is always the most scary to do. So this is my middle of my signature. So I'm going to start with the page after that, I think, and work my way outwards from the middle. It's not that easy to... Because there's actually quite nice thick papers, and which is great, but it just makes it a bit difficult to get it started on the tearing. And I'll do most of this off camera. I just thought I'd show you how I get started. Alright, there's one. So in theory, the next one to come out should be the other side of the middle. So I'm hoping that's going to be the case. It doesn't seem to be actually working out that way, so I'm just not sure if I've worked this out correctly, because I can't see where the other one is on these, even though I can see the stitching in this middle signature. Or can I? Have I worked it out correctly? Not sure I have now. What have I done? I really don't know. These signatures are not easy to find at all. So anyway, I'm going to have to try and figure out where I... Is that a stitching or not? I really can't. I just can't see the stitching. I mean, I can see it in some of them, but I can't see it in this one at the beginning at all. So I need to find out where the next one comes out. Otherwise, I'm going to have pages falling out. So I'm just going to have to turn off the camera a minute and figure out what I'm doing, and then I'll come back and do it. Right, so I started, sorry, tearing out the page, the other side of what I'd consider to be the middle, and it seems to be coming out fairly easily. So I think that is the other side of the one I've already torn out. It just wasn't very easy to tell. I'm just easing it out because I don't want to rip any of the stitching. I mean, it's so beautifully, it's so well sewn in, I can hardly see the stitching. That's part of the problem. So I'm just going to try taking out this one now. So I'm just going to take the next one. I'm just sort of afraid to really rip it. Just got to take it quite gently. It's left some really raggedy edges, so I'm going to have to be careful that when I do my pockets I try to hide these ragged edges inside the book, inside the pockets. Some of them are going to be a little bit tricky to disguise, but I'll do the best I can to cover them up. And so just got to go to the other side and take this one out, and hopefully this will come out fairly easily. That's the, yeah, I can feel that it is just pulling, so I'm just got to be gentle with it. But I think one almost definitely is the other side of the one I've just pulled out, so that's kind of working out the way I hoped in the end, but you've just got to be really gentle with it. So I just have to do that. So it's actually only 2 pages for each signature have got to come out to give me what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and carry on doing that for the rest of the book, because it might take me a little while. And then I'll come back and hopefully we'll have a chance to have a look at the kit I'm going to use to decorate it with as well at the end of this video, so that then I can use the next video to just make the pockets. Okay, so I'll be back when I've finished ripping this apart. Okay, so I've gone ahead and removed all the pages that I've in between my paper clips. Some of them have not been removed terribly tidily. After this signature, which was a bit scruffy looking the way I've torn them out, I did actually use my craft knife just to really gently cut down the page so that I could remove them more gently and more tidily. You can still see where it was, but I'm hoping that when I start putting the pages together to make the pockets, those won't show. Fingers crossed. So by the time I'd taken all of those out, I ended up with 44 pages, which is what I thought I'd need, or what I thought I'd get. And then I had a recount of the pockets I want to make, and I only need 42 pages. So I've found the middle of a signature, more or less in the middle of my book, which I've now... Have I lost it? Where was it? I had it all ready to go because I have actually scored it, so it's going to start falling out very soon if I don't find the right one again. So here it is. So I have just started tearing it a little bit, and this is literally the middle 2 pages of a signature, so that you can actually, you probably can't see, but there is stitching very clearly on show in the middle there. So in order to get my 42, I'm just going to very gently remove these 2 pages, sort of trying to go around the stitching, trying not to pull on the stitching, otherwise the whole thing might start to come apart, which would be very sad. Right, so that's one gone, and hopefully this one will just pop out as well. There we are, it's just come out there, and I might just be able to tease out this bit where it's just got a bit ragged. There we are, that just comes out. So now I've got my 42 pages, so it's quite thin. There's still quite a lot to play with there. I'm hoping it's not going to be overly thick, but I think what I'll do, I'll have a think about whether I need, because it's quite a small book to start with, I may decide to remove a bit more and do fewer pockets, just so that it's, otherwise I could end up with a real gator mouth, which wouldn't look great really. So I may decide that I only want to do 14 or 15 pockets instead. At the moment I've got, I think, 16 pockets, or pocket combinations. More individual pockets than that, but the pocket combinations, it's about 16, and I think maybe I'll take it down to 14, take a couple out. I'll work it out. When I start actually putting the pockets together, I'll tell you what I've decided to do. But for today, I think that's all I'm going to sort of actually physically achieve today, because yeah, I really want to have a think about it. I want to do this right. I want it to end up not looking overly sort of overfull. So I really want to work out what pockets I want to put in there and possibly take a few more pages out very, very carefully. So in the meantime, I thought I'd just show you the autumn kit that I've chosen to decorate the first half of this book with. And it's called Autumn Wonder, and it's by an Etsy shop called the Junk Journal Studio. And it's a really big kit, so I'm sure I won't use anything like even half of it, but it does mean that I'll have a good start on making an autumn journal next year, which I think I'd quite like to do, because I've really enjoyed watching other people doing autumnal style of journals, and I've not done one before, so I probably will want to do one next year. So I'll just show you the pages. And they're just printed on copy paper because I'm just going to be gluing them into the book, so they don't need to be that substantial. They're not going to be journal pages or anything. So this is the first one. I'm a sucker for a squirrel. I love them. I love seeing them out and about when I go for walks. Because yesterday, I think I may have mentioned, it was Richard's birthday, so I didn't do any of this yesterday. And we did go for a lovely walk in the Lee Valley, which is near where we live. And we sort of went into a bird hide and watched some birds on a big lake. And then we went to a pub and had lunch sitting by a river. Even though it's autumn, it was one of those soft autumn days that was quite was a bit cloudy, but the sun kept poking through, and it was just a really kind of gentle day. And we were sitting by the river, and it was so soothing and relaxing. We had to have lunch in our coats. It wasn't that warm. And possibly any other day of the year, if it hadn't been his birthday, I'd have said, oh no, I don't want to sit outside. But as it was something he really fancied doing, that's what we did. We just had a sandwich and a beer. But it was just lovely sitting outside. There was hardly anybody else out there. I think there was one other guy. Normally in the summer, this particular pub, because it's by the river, it's packed, and you can never get a seat sitting outside anyway. But because of the time of year, and it wasn't during the week, it was very, very quiet, and it was just lovely, just sitting there. And it's near a weir where there's like falling water. It's not like waterfall, but you can hear the water falling at the weir. So that was really nice to hear. So it was lovely, a lovely day. I think he really enjoyed it. So this is the kit, Autumn Wonder, and I really like it. There are bits in it that I may not use just because they're referring a lot to Thanksgiving, and of course we don't really do Thanksgiving here. So like here's the turkey, which clearly, I know you guys that have in the States that eat turkeys at Thanksgiving, but we eat the turkey at Christmas. So it kind of doesn't really symbolise autumn for me to see a turkey, so I may not use this bit. But there's so much else in it that I didn't find that wasn't a problem. Love this leafy page. So there's going to be lots of leaves, and well, you can see from the cover that leaves are the thing I'm going to be doing a lot of, and sunflowers. We've got sunflowers in the garden, or we did have. They're just beginning to fade now. And this is, I think they're just beautiful pages, beautiful colours. And there's not too many turkeys. This is lovely with the pumpkins. There's definitely a lot of pumpkins about at this time of year. And then there's some of these lovely backing papers. And if I was making a journal, I'd probably be backing some of these with some of these sort of ones, isn't it? I mean, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So I really like these. And there's more really pretty backing papers. They're really, really lovely. I do like it very much, this kit. And then this is more of a collage-y page. So it'll be lovely just to use bits of it. There's a recipe there for apple sauce cake, which I'm sure will be delicious. And this is another really lovely collage page with the owl. Hoot for Owl Coffee. Interesting one. Anyway, I just love this. I love every page. And here's a little rabbit. Oh, more apple sauce cake. And now we've got the ephemera part of it. So this is sort of... So I once I've sort of shown you all these, I'll start fussy cutting some of these bits because I'll be able to use those in the book. There's some tags. Oh, this isn't printed very well. I've lost a bit of the at the top and the bottom. But it's got the months, the autumn months, September, October and November. Although both the Novembers have almost been chopped off. And some labels, postcards, a couple of, there's a pocket, tickets and a variety of bits and pieces. More words and pockets. I think a lot of these I'll be able to use. Pockets here. Some ears of corn. Fussy cut. Oh, and look at all these sunflowers. Isn't that lovely? And I like this. I love this journal card here. Labels with sunflower backgrounds. Oh, there's just so much in this kit. I mean, it's a wonderful kit. Long envelope liner. That's an interesting one. You don't see that very often in a kit. And this is a long envelope card. And there's more of these cards. And then one of the pockets is a long narrow pocket. So I'll certainly be able to use one of those in that. Tall envelope journal card. So yeah, so everything's been thought of, and there's some more labels of, you know, word labels here. Autumn wonder, autumn vibes, fall harvest, sunflowers, more journal cards. It goes on and on. It's amazing, this kit. So beautiful. And that's the last one. So I think it's fabulous. And obviously no way I'm going to be able to use it all. But I am looking forward to just starting and just giving this certainly the first half of this book a real autumnal feel. So that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm not quite sure when I'll schedule it in. It'll have to be, because I'm going to probably try and alternate it with the fairy journal once I get going on this. I'll pop it in between some of the fairy journal videos that I've already scheduled. So I hope you'll join me to get going on this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.